Hello, everybody. I'm with my great friend Melissa Rubin, and welcome to Zenny 62 Live Monday night. And we're going to have a lively discussion, which I promise, considering I have a Baltimore Ravens Superman, your fan here, who lost by a point, won't be depressing. Melissa Rubin, who's also a blogger on Zenny62.com. She's on the NFL Network herself, the NFL Media Network herself, and has been on, you were on another podcast, on Larry Brown Sports, right? Was that?
Yes.
Yeah. Fun stuff, right?
It was a lot, yes.
Wherein you were predicting a win. Okay, so let me go to the watch page real quick, right over here. And there is the live control room. And go down here. Oops, excuse me, I don't mean to get that part, this part. The stream is good, that's what we want to see. Let's go to the watch page where folks are. Eric Young. Hello, Eric. How are we, Mr. Young? How are you? Pedro Young. Hello, Eric. How are we, Mr. Young? How are you? Pedro Gallardos hates the Steelers too. Pedro Gallardos hates. I'm saying hello all. I'm saying hello all. I'm saying hello all. A little feedback there. A little feedback there. Let me go here. Turn that down. Wow, let me have that down. Oh, I know how I get rid of that. Hold on a second, folks. Okay, I got rid of it. Sorry. Sorry about that, folks. A little feedback there, but we are here. All right, cool. Now, the way this works is Melissa is on my left. The questioners are on the right. So if you have any questions for Melissa, folks, you can just type them in on the side. Barry Lee, my favorite moderator, is here. Barry, say hi to Melissa. And Eric, say hi to Melissa. And Pedro, say hi to Melissa. And everybody say hi to Melissa. And Barry, the hashtag under which to tweet this out is hashtag NFL, hashtag Ravens, hashtag Raiders. Because we're going to talk about all this stuff, all put together. We're going to start. I'm going to go right for the jugular. This score right here says it all. It says it all. Yeah. First of all, you're with people who hate the Steelers, but this says Ravens 38, Steelers 39. Melissa, what the heck happened to this? What happened here? You watched that game. Eric Young says hi, Melissa.
The defense.
The defense. Uh-oh. Yes.
The pass rush. There's no pass rush.
What happened to T. Sizzle?
Brandon Carr can't stay on Antonio Brown.
Oh, my gosh. Emma Young says hello. And everyone says hello. What happened to T. Sizzle?
T. Sizzle sizzled. Sizzling out.
Is he all sizzle and no steak? Is that
I mean, I love him, but he's getting up there in age, and it's, he's a little slower, and he just, sometimes he steps up, sometimes he doesn't. I mean, he's good at kind of motivating them and, being a sort of a leader in the locker room, but on the field, I question his ability to keep up. I mean, he's lost a step or two.
Eric Young says Antonio Brown is ghostly. He has a smiley face here with like a ghost smiley face, it's like that, and he's got two eyes going in that direction. It's like smiley face, yeah. Let's look at these statistics. We have Joe Flacco, your favorite quarterback, was 20 of 35 for 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 1 interception. Rushing, Mr. Collins was 16 for 120 yards. So he had a good game on the ground.
Yes.
1 touchdown. His longest game was 21 yards. Allen had 6 rushes for 25 yards, 2 touchdowns. His longest game was 9 for a touchdown. Danny Woodhead he was 2 for 7, 2 rushes for 7 yards. Receiving, Mike Wallace was 3 for 72 yards. He led all Ravens receivers. He had the longest game is 40 yards, no touchdowns. Mr. Moore had 3 for 48, 1 touchdown. His longest game was 30. In a total, basically, it looked like this. You had total offense. You had 26 first downs versus 31 for the Steelers. You had 9 by rushing, 13 by passing, 4 by penalty. And but your third down efficiency, you were 40%, where the Steelers were 66%. Fourth downs, there were none. Total net yards, though, 413 for you guys. 545 yards for the Steelers. You gave up 545 yards. Wow. I mean, what do you say about what's happened to the once vaunted Ravens defense? Wasn't this supposed to be a slugfest where people came out, bloody and losing arms and limbs and all that stuff?
Well, no, because we're not the Bengals. We don't play dirty like they do.
Oh. Ooh. Are you calling the Bengals a dirty team?
That was a dirty game.
To say the least. So what?
Yeah, the defense. I mean, some of it I blame on Dean Pease, play calling.
DPs is the defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, which he's retiring after the season, so.
Maybe you should send him to the Raiders. No, maybe. On second thought, maybe not, My gosh. Hey, you guys, what do you think of us?
Chuck Pagano back.
Oh, Eric Young says...
When he comes next week, they can talk him
into
you
want
coming back
Pagano?
as a defensive coordinator.
Oh, so Eric Young says there's no more Ray Lewis, that's why. Do you really think that Ray Lewis was that big an impact? No pun intended,
I mean, he was for a long time. I don't think he necessarily was towards the end of his career. I mean, definitely he was a factor in the Super Bowl run, but I don't think one player, I don't think, makes the whole team. I mean, having him and Ed Reed were, that was a big deal. They were very, motivating, and they were good at, they were good role models for just teaching other players how to play the game. But as far leadership, but I don't think, because they've been gone for a while. Ray Lewis has been gone for a while. It's the defense is not, they're awful. They have issues. This season has been disappointing because the defense seems to be up and down.
And why? Is it the age of your defense? Or is it, what is it? Is it the age of the defense? Or is it lousy game plans? Is it that maybe you all expected the Steelers to run more than they did? Let me see that. In fact, let me look at that. Let's go to Ben Roethlisberger. He threw 66 times. Do you realize that?
Yes.
Oh, what am I saying? Of course you do, right? Hey, Naomi Reynolds, how are you?
Watched,
and hey, Rick Rice, how you doing?
Watching the highlights.
Yeah, he threw 66 times. He completed 44 for 506 yards.
Yeah.
And 2 touchdown passes. When I see 506 yards, I expect to see 6 touchdown passes, but that's another story. But he rang up 500 yards on you guys.
Yes.
Can I repeat that? He rang up 500 yards on you guys.
Yeah, that's painful.
Yeah. He basically almost doubled Joe Flacco, the elite quarterback's yardage total. The guy who Rick Rice thinks is an elite quarterback. Isn't that right? Rick Rice thinks that Joe Flacco is an elite quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, okay. This is crazy. Do you know the Steelers' rushing total was?
No.
Oh boy, the Steelers had net yards rushing 59. So Rick Rice says that the Ravens. Oh boy, this is the most insulting thing anyone could ever say about an opponent. Rick Rice just said that the Ravens defense sounds like a Ken Norton defense.
Ouch.
He also says that Flacco is the GOAT, greatest of all time. Oh my goodness. Boy, talk about dump time.
Well, they did. I mean, what they were supposed to do, they didn't do. They let Roethlisberger have all the time in the world with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, he's going to throw out on you all day. And that's what he kept doing. And they did not adjust. The Ravens' defense did not adjust. So they just kept coming back. I don't know. I haven't.
No, but you're right, though.
Figured out what. And we've been through this before. They've come back to win games on us, like at the end.
The Steelers got off 85 total plays. 85. I don't know if that's a record. The average game per offensive play was 6.4 yards. The average game per pass play, including sacks, was 7. He was only sacked 3 times for all of those throws. They only had 16 rushing plays for an average gain of 3.7 yards. By contrast, the Ravens had 62 plays total. Average game per pass play was 6.7. Had 152 yards in rushing. You know, but it sounds to me like basically the Steelers threw so much and so effectively that it killed the idea of having a ground game. But, you know, I mean, it killed it. But with all that, you all are 7-6. The Raiders are 6-7. And looking at the Raiders from afar, what is your impression of the Raiders? I mean, you guys beat us earlier this year, which I was shocked at the time. At the Coliseum, I thought you guys. It's like, what? Something's wrong here.
Yeah, I was surprised. I can't remember. I think I had that game as a loss originally, but I can't.
Yeah, you were smart. I think.
Yeah, I haven't really followed the Raiders as much, so I can't really speak to them. But I thought going into the season, you're supposed to have a better season. I mean, after getting Derek Carr back. But then, that I guess hasn't panned out the way you hoped.
So how would you like to fix the Raiders? How long has John Harbaugh been coach?
Since 2008.
What do you want to do for next year? Do you want to? Or is it too late? You're 7-6. Can you make the playoffs? Can you go 10-6 with the Ravens record? And now our fans think that Derek Carr is still injured. Our Derek Carr got injured a few days earlier with his back, and there are people who believe that he's been playing with this injury, and the Raiders have been keeping it quiet. Yeah. Which you don't have that problem. So maybe we can do a trade. Maybe you can give us Joe Flacco, right? And we can give you Derek Carr, right? And you can take on his contract and pay his salary.
The thing is
Eric Young says, "Yep." Flacco, he likes the idea. They're people who don't like. They're people who feel that Derek Carr is kind of not what he was advertised. So and this is
right.
So yeah, but Joe Flacco. What say you about Joe Flacco and the offense and all that?
I think Flacco. He had the back injury in training camp, so then he didn't play any preseason games, and that has definitely affected him this season. I don't believe that he is 100%. I think he's having some issues, and it's just he's playing through whatever sort of pain he's having.
Eric Young says he just thinks he needs to heal. That's all. What do you think?
He needs to heal, but the thing is,
he needs to heal, or he is a heel. What is this?
What? It's like with Flacco, he's been doing the same thing, pretty much his entire career. He had that amazing the Super Bowl run and the Mile High Miracle, but
you gotta admit, beating the Niners, beating the Niners, that was a lucky thing, though.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, that call in the end zone that never was. That what was all that? I mean, we should have beat you guys.
They picked up momentum after the lights went out.
Yeah, who did that too?
Somebody.
Isn't the power company based in Baltimore? It's just like Rick Rice says, keep Carr, change offensive coordinators. Eric Young says what? Pedro Gallardo says AFC wildcard teams are Titans at 8-5 and Bills at 7-6. Can Raiders or Ravens move in? I think the Ravens are in a better position to move in, but you guys play who next?
We play the Browns, the Colts, and the Bengals.
Wait. Okay, so Browns, you got to win there. Okay.
Well, we should.
Unless you figures out how to coach finally.
We're playing in Cleveland.
Ooh, uh-oh.
And they hate us. And I don't care how bad the Browns are. They will show up. Mm-hmm. They want to win. They haven't won anything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, they can want to all they want to. I mean, I can dream, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that game. It's not a cakewalk, and can't sleep on them. So we got to do something.
Well, it seems like other teams have slept on them. Look, Green Bay slept on them for 4 quarters and they woke up. So,
that was
yeah. I mean, Green
Bay.
I
only got to see the overtime of that game. That was crazy.
What do you think? Okay, give us your. Let's talk. Well, give me a score. Cleveland Browns what? Baltimore Ravens what? Or Baltimore Ravens what? Cleveland Browns what? Give me a score.
I don't even know. I haven't thought about this. And I'm really bad about guessing scores because anything could happen. The Ravens-Steelers game, I never would have guessed it'd be that high scoring. Mm-hmm. I would have thought it would have been a lot lower.
Yeah.
Would have guessed it would have been tight, though, but not that high scoring, especially with the Ravens not having 38 points. I don't know.
No, but here's the thing. Don't you think that it's amazing for the Ravens to withstand that kind of offensive onslaught and yet lose only by a point?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just... If you think about it, 82 plays. Mm-hmm. You guys absorbed the Steelers' best offensive shot of the season.
Yeah.
To date. They're not going to top this. That's my prediction. Not going to top this.
No.
And yet you lost. That lost by a point. Doesn't that make you want to throw bricks?
Yes.
Does that explain the hole in your wall over there?
Oh my God. I was screaming. It was not pretty. I was very mad. Oh. I'm still mad, but I have calmed down.
Oh, wait, so when you watch, I've never watched a game with you. What do you like when you watch a game?
Hyper. Use a lot of inappropriate language.
Do you yell at the TV or do you throw things?
No, I don't throw things. I'm not violent. I'm just very vocal.
Ah. Are you vocal on a scale of 1, you're kind of quietly muttering, but then to 10, you're a screaming banshee? Where do you fall in that category?
I don't know. Maybe a 7 or so.
Oh, so you're almost a screaming banshee. All right. So Rick Gray has this question from Melissa about conservative play when you have a lead. Is this Harbaugh's MO, modus operandi?
Oh, I don't know who's responsible for all that play calling. The thing is they did better running the ball, mm-hmm. and they ran the ball a lot, mm-hmm. and the running backs were very good, but their passing game had issues. But it is what it is. There were some glimmers of hope. Flacco had, some good completions, throwing to Wallace. I mean, Wallace, I guess, seems to be his go-to guy because he doesn't have anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember any tight ends even being active in this game. Like, if they were, they got very little.
Yeah, that's
play.
true. Basically, because, your Wallace, Collins, and Allen had, let's see here, 10 receptions alone spread among them. Pedro Gallardo asks you this question. He says, why did the refs run off the last 8 seconds of the game after the ball was fumbled out of bounds?
That I really wasn't sure about. I saw something about where I know with the Ravens, they came in, they didn't realize that the clock was still going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, apparently there's like some like obscure rule about what happened, and they just didn't they didn't realize the clock was still running.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't realize that.
So it's poor clock management?
No, well, I don't even know what happened. Like, I read a tiny bit about it, but I actually didn't even hear anybody talk about it today.
Mm-hmm.
So
sounds like a huge issue.
I don't know all the specifics on that. I just saw something that Flacco had said that they didn't know. They didn't realize that the clock was still running.
Now, here's the other thing. I mean, how is it that he was sacked only 3 times, but the third down efficiency was 66%. You had guys had a hard time getting him off the field. I mean, you really did. There were 9 kickoffs by the Steelers. 9 kickoffs, number in the end zone, and then touchbacks. 3 touchbacks, no blocks. Punting average was 47 yards, which is the other thing. Punting average for the Ravens was 42.3. So there's something else. They won the field position battle with you guys by getting off better punts. Something else, too. 5 penalties for you all versus 6 for the Steelers. The Steelers lost 101 yards in penalties. So basically the Steelers lost 101 yards in penalties that they could have had,
right.
which really, brings us to that 1 point.
Right.
1 point. Okay, so all right, so let's as much as you may not want to, let's play prognostication with the future.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to the Browns game?
No, it's in Cleveland.
Oh, it's in Cleveland. That's right. You can still travel. I didn't know that. So you're not going to the Browns game. Next game is
as the Colts.
And you're going? Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not going to that game.
And next game is?
Cincy. In Cincy.
Ooh. So 2 out of your last...
No, wait, I'm sorry. Cincy's here.
Okay.
I forgot. Yeah, Cincy's here. That's the New Year's Eve game.
So you could win. I mean, in fact, hey, here's Crawford 371 reports that tickets are $6. $6. You hear what I'm saying?
$6. The fees would be more than that. Like, you would pay more in fees.
Dollars. Is it snowing that day or something? I see the weather forecast is. That's crazy.
It's New Year's Eve. So I don't know how people might not be going to that game because of that. And I mean, attendance has been down.
Well,
even last night, that stadium was a little empty.
Well, wait. I thought the Cleveland game was this Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not New Year's Eve.
Oh, you're talking about in Cleveland,
Yeah.
The tickets are $6. I thought you meant for the game here.
Oh, yeah. It's $6. $6. That's what he's telling me.
Crazy.
I mean, and Eric Young says it's like Cleveland is trying to lose. They are. They're trying to lose. It's awful. Hey, by the way, let's see since we're all about NFL gear, you're wearing the latest NFL Ravens gear, huh?
No, well, this is old.
Oh, it's old. It looks new to me. Stand up and show it off, if you don't mind.
Oh, I can't really stand up.
Yeah.
The way my
Baltimore Ravens. That's cool. That looks great.
Thank you.
Wow. Did you get it at the stadium? Or did one of the players give it to you? Because you know the players and stuff. Who's your favorite Raven? Yeah, we have pictures with T Sizzle, so I figure, right, you know. So,
right.
Who's your favorite player?
My favorite current player, probably Sizzle.
Mm-hmm. What's he like in person?
He was nice. I mean, I met him very briefly, but he was very nice.
Yeah.
Probably scared him. I mean, I came, like, running down the hill, like yelling his name. And
wait! Tell this story. Now you have to tell this story. What did you do to the poor man?
So it was when I was in Dallas last season for the Ravens-Cowboys game, and I went to Dealey Plaza. Like, I went to the
JFK Memorial.
The JFK, the bookstore museum, and I did the tour. And then I came out to actually go onto Dealey Plaza and take pictures. And I was wearing my Raven stuff, and this man saw me, and he waved me over, and he pointed at the bottom of the hill and said, like, there's Sizzle. And I couldn't really see him that well. And so I didn't see his face. And so I didn't believe him. I'm like, that wouldn't be him. Why would he be here? And then he showed me a picture that he had just gotten taken with him. That's him. And so I kind of freaked out. Oh, my God, I got to go down and meet him. And so I'm walking really fast down this hill, and I'm like, T-Sizzle, T-Sizzle. And he's, like, looking at me like, who the hell are you? And I was just like, hi, I'm here for the game. Like, I'm a huge fan. And can I get a picture? And he was very nice. He's like, sure. But I was so excited and so just surprised to see him there that my legs were shaking.
Wow, really?
So I'm getting this picture with him, and I'm like, my arms around him. I'm telling him, like, oh my God, my legs are shaking. And he's like, it's okay, calm down. Like, no, don't be so nervous. I was very excited.
Wow. Eric Young says that Cleveland is trying to get that first pick in the draft, like that's automatically good. Pedro Gallardo asks, he says, do you have a Tony Saragusa story? I've met Goose myself, but have you met him?
I have not.
And Rick Ray says $6 for a team that no one wants to see. Attendance is down all over the league. No one wants to pay $90 for now 78 of end zone, even for Eagles versus Rams. Is that the case in Baltimore as far as attendance being down?
Yes.
Why do you think
it's been down?
Why do you think that is?
Well, for one, the protest from earlier in the season. People are pissed off about that. There are a lot of season ticket holders who are pissed off about it. I've talked to some season ticket holders who I've just randomly met out, and they have said, like, I'm a season ticket holder, but I'm really mad about everything that happened, and they're not keeping their seats for, like, next season.
Wow.
So I'm curious to see, like, what will happen in the future. But, I mean, people are pissed off, and, like, the team, they're just inconsistent, and there's a lot of loyal fans here, but there's also some fair weather fans, and people, I mean, I think across the NFL, it's just people don't want to pay. It's a lot of money. I mean, game day experience is very expensive, and a lot of people just want to stay home. They can, they don't have to wait in line for a bathroom. They have, food and drink readily available, and it doesn't cost a fortune.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
To go to a game. I mean, the ticket is a lot. Everything else just costs ridiculously. It's ridiculously expensive. And so, then it's a whole day. Tailgating and everything. So, I don't know, but I mean, ticket prices, I went to games where tickets were a lot less, which is kind of nice. I actually have been enjoying it because it's cheaper, but I mean, it is kind of sad when you go to a game and you see a lot of empty seats.
Yeah, I don't even like to see that on television. Rick Gray asks, Rick Rice says NFL is going down, which I want to get your opinion on in a second. But then Rick Gray asks, he says, every seat in Baltimore has a PSL attached to the tickets, right?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. How much are those PSLs on the average? It's okay if you don't know, but I'm just
Yeah, I don't even know.
Mm-hmm. And
But I think some people will, like, they have PSLs, they'll keep the PSL, but they will sell their like they'll sell the seats. So it's like you could buy season tickets from them, but they'll just be the PSL holder.
And
they don't sell the PSL.
And Mark says NFL has to rethink everything. Trends hurting them. And I should report, folks, that I have been credentialed to cover the NFL winter meeting. However, I'm here in Georgia for Mom, so circumstances are such that I have to not go. It starts tomorrow. It's really a one-day meeting. It's in Las Colinas in Dallas. And so the next official owners meeting, barring any need for a special meeting, right now I don't see one, will be the NFL annual meeting after the season ends. And yeah, so, which is right around the corner because we're coming close to the playoffs and then the Super Bowl and then the Pro Bowl, right? But yeah, so there that is. But I'm keeping tabs on everything, and Zenny 62 Media still matters to the NFL in spite of some Raider fans who insist on trying to downgrade my brand. You will never destroy my brand. Just putting that out there, those assholes. Excuse me. Anyway, moving forward. Rick Rice says the NFL is going down. Do you believe that?
I mean, I've heard people say that. I don't think so, but I know other people have that thought.
I'm surprised to hear that the whole protest, I'm be honest with you, I didn't think that many people cared about the protest issue in the way that they would cancel. I mean, I hear it anecdotally, but I always thought, hey, Mark says, keep up the good work, Zinni. I learned that. Mark, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And there are a lot of people in the NFL have been really supportive, including Joe Lockhart, who used to work for President Obama, and a number of people. So, yeah, it's just fantastic. Eric Young says, wouldn't it be funny if NFL ticket prices would somehow have to be lowered to 1970s or 80s prices? You mean kind of like in Cleveland? Isn't that happening now? The Cleveland price, I ought to fly and go up to go to a Cleveland game, Yeah. I mean,
I do want to go to a game there, but...
Oh, let's go. I don't know
that I survive it. I would not be able to wear any Ravens stuff because they would not like that.
Oh, are they violent that way? Because in Oakland, you can wear your stuff and nothing happens to you like that. So.
Well, I don't know
that wasn't violent. Always the case.
I just know they don't like us.
Oh, do women get violent at games now?
Do women? I'm sorry. Do they what?
Get violent at games? I mean, pick fights.
Violent?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there have been instances where that's happened, but I haven't heard of any.
Because I've been to the old Rick Gray says there's a maintenance fee attached to the PSLs that has to be paid yearly, like a condo dues. He says Raiders. I don't think she knows about the maintenance fee part. Do you?
No.
Okay. And she's but as to I don't know about the maintenance fee in the context of the Raiders issue, Rick Gray, and there was that maintenance fee, and it was waived. And so they had it. They had the maintenance fee, and they had a remarketing, both of which were waived after, I believe, the fourth year. The remarketing was waived after the first year. The remarketing was to occur after year 15 because the drive was to make the PSL's lifetime. But the maintenance fee came off, if memory serves, about 3 or 4 years afterward. All right. So, Crawford says that if you wear Chargers gear in Oakland, you have a problem. And I haven't seen that yet. Now, I'll tell you, in the 80s and 90s, yeah. But the reason I mentioned the violence thing as far as women is because at the old Candlestick Park, I went and I saw a lot of fighting, but it was always guys. But then I saw a video of a woman at a Cowboys game, just totally ragging out some dude. I mean, just like, I'm not ragging out. It's like, just really yelling at the guy. No, she was really giving him what for. I mean, and I had never seen that before. No, I mean, just like straight out, yeah. And I wondered if society had changed to the point where, women had become equal to men in terms of their fervor for sports, which I think is a great thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I asked the question, even if my asking the question was inartful, but the whole point was, but yeah, I mean, it was just, that's why I asked. So I have not seen, yeah, that's why I asked. So the question is that, but you say you haven't noticed that, or have you? Yeah.
No, I have not noticed.
Okay. Now, Mark says that Green Bay fans are some of the most hospitable. It's a special event NFL needs to experience. And Rick Gray says, just wondering if other communities did that to their fans. Now, when I worked for the mayor of Oakland and the Broncos, this was 1995 to 1999. 1996, I got a call from a person whose son had a battery thrown on him because he had a Denver Broncos shirt on at a game at the Coliseum. Mm-hmm. That's how bad it was. Okay, that's how bad it was. I mean, the kid was 9 years old, so I had to call. Oh, right. So I'm trying to put the perspective here. I mean, in at Candlestick, when I was walking in, because I like to go to the club section of games. I'm not really I don't consider myself a commoner, and I did say that in public on the air. Okay, I like the club experience. I like to be around fans that are fervent, but not, ready to hit you and all that sort of thing. I mean, I didn't go to a football game to be in a fight. I went to a football game to watch a football game. And so I'm just trying to get a gauge on how fans have changed today. That's why I asked the question.
Right.
What's the craziest thing you've seen at a Ravens game in terms of fans?
I don't recall seeing like anything super crazy. I have seen people get in fights, and I just seen people who act like assholes. Mm-hmm. There was a game. I was a Ravens Patriots game, and there was a guy wearing a Tom Brady jersey, and he's probably like 5 or 6 rows in front of where I was sitting. And everyone around him wanted to just kill him because he was just so obnoxiously loud. He was really drunk, and he kept standing. And it's like, it's just rude, and people can't see around him. So it was like he got tossed out, and then everyone was cheering, and it was nice seeing him.
Pedro Gallardo has a question for you. He says, "Hey Melissa, if you had to go to an NFL team game besides the Ravens, who would that team be? Baltimore loves their Ravens."
Well, I got to experience that this season. Green Bay.
Oh, wait a minute. What was that like?
Oh, it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
going to Lambeau.
Yeah, give us a description. What's it like? What did you feel? Did you feel the history? Did you feel Lombardi, over your shoulder and all that stuff? Did you see Paul Ryan at the game?
It was very cool. I mean, I had always heard that they are the nicest fans. Mm-hmm. And after going there, I can honestly say they are the nicest fans. Huh. My friend and I, on game day, mm-hmm. we had at least 3 people come up to us. And these are fans. These aren't people who work there that said to us, "Welcome to Lambeau."
Wow.
Just so nice.
But wait. The only reason they would say that is you obviously knew that you stood out, right? Because you were wearing Ravens gear.
And we had all of our Ravens gear on.
Yeah. Wow.
And they didn't boo. No one said boo. No one said a mean thing. Like, even during the game, mm-hmm. Ravens were killing them. And nobody said anything mean. They were just talking to us, like talking about football. And it was great. And, I mean, they weren't even, I'm sure if Aaron Rodgers had been playing, the Ravens probably would have lost. But they weren't even like, oh, well, you're only winning because Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. They weren't bitter. They kind of just accepted, like, okay, our quarterback is injured. We have to have Hundley play, and, they just deal with it. But they're so nice. And we actually, we did the tour of Lambeau, which was really interesting. You know, you get some of the history. And the coolest thing about it was going out the tunnel. Like you get to the tunnel, and our tour guide told us about the concrete, which I thought this was very cool. So there's these, I think it's 3 concrete slabs that are the tunnel where the players go out. But they had renovated the stadium, I guess, a few years back. Mm-hmm. And the entrance used to be on the other side of the stadium. So when they moved the player entrance, they moved the tunnel, they decided that they wanted to move the concrete slabs because they, you know, the whole history of Lambeau, like every player had walked on that concrete. And so they didn't want to lose that. So they moved the concrete from the one side of the stadium to the other. And there's actually a sign that they like posted about how all the greatness that walked on that concrete. So I just thought it was really cool. And like they gave us the game day experience. So they had the cheers like piped in and the lights. So it was just, you felt like you were a player, and I kind of got the chills. It was just neat. Like such an old stadium, and go out on that field.
Hey, and so Rick Gray also says, Melissa's right. Game day is crazy expensive. The average ticket price has risen some 300% over the last 10 years. Also, programming note. I used the term accidentally, I haven't used in years, ragging. Ragging is a sexist term, folks. Don't use it. Some of you here are like 15 years old, never used the term. You know, but what happened visually was, if you saw the video that I was talking about, this person was about to kick that dude's butt. All right? There was... I mean, it was like, it was a Tasmanian devil level of expression of rage, okay? So, but the bottom line is the way I described it was wrong. So I just want to get that out there. Don't do that at home or in public. So anyway, there you go. Now, moving forward, Eric Young says, and they should do the same thing at the Oakland Coliseum, just like what they're doing with Lambeau Field, talking about what you're talking about there, okay? And Rick Gray says, Melissa, what is your average cost for 2 tickets and parking at a Ravens game? 49ers are $300 for parking and 2 tickets. Food is about $75 and souvenirs. That's 2 shirts are $60. So one game day is $435. And Rick Gray says, and here's a note, that was for a preseason game.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy for preseason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm generally buying 1 ticket, not 2, but I think face value, upper level is like $75, $80 a ticket. A lower level is usually like when people are selling them, they tend to be around $150. But I don't know if that's like face value or what. I don't drive there, so I don't deal with parking. But I know parking is expensive. And it's like beers, they're like $10. I usually don't eat during games, like I'll eat before. Mm-hmm. But it is crazy. But I went to the game, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, and it was last week. My friend and I paid, this was, I guess, from the NFL ticket exchange, $61 total, like for each ticket.
Wow.
Which was really cheap. And we were lower level. We actually had really good seats.
Wow.
But people can't sell them, so the prices go down.
Yeah, at the Raiders games, I get club tickets, but the club tickets usually hover around $200. I search for the ones that are under that. I used to get tickets for free, but I just haven't. I've been requested a free ticket. So, this year I did last year, and I got them all the time. But so that was an outlier because I've never had to pay anything, And then I had a press credential, but I hated the press box experience. I hated and hate the press box experience because, and I think I may have mentioned this to you when we were talking on the phone, but to make I hate the press box experience because I can't connect with people. And the common reporter that sits in the press box diddles on Twitter. That's it.
Right.
And, you know, I thought, what is the person or persons who owns the media company getting from paying a person ostensibly a lot of money to sit in the press box and diddle on Twitter? You know?
Right,
and not only that, not even on, and Twitter isn't even a platform that their media company owns. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And as my viewers know, I had a press credential. I've talked about this openly. I talk about everything openly. That's me, for better or worse. But what happened was that I had sent an email to Will Kiss, who's the Raiders director of PR, and I told Will, this is in 2005, not 1985, excuse me. This was in 2005. I told him, I said, hey, 2015, I'm sorry. Wow. Sorry, folks. Late night red eye, got no sleep whatsoever, which results in a brain that's a little bit out of circuit. But my point is this. To which, are you texting somebody making fun of me? It's like, but my whole point is this. I hope you are. But the whole point is that I told Will, and this is now being serious, I told Will that I was going to make a series of YouTube videos to set the record for YouTube uploads in a game. He responded. I said I wanted to interview Derek Carr and Amari Cooper, and he said he didn't know how their accessibility would go, but let's see how it goes. Words to that effect in the email. But he acknowledged the email, which means he saw it and read it, even if he didn't comprehend what he was reading. Okay, and he said, so I get there, I do it, and then about a couple of days later, he calls me, he's yelling at me. You made these uploads from the game, and they were like 20-second videos. And the reason why I did the videos is I was trying to analyze the Raiders' offense because Bill Musgrave, who was our offensive coordinator, was going to install elements of Chip Kelly's system in the Raider offense. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. I want to see how this works. Right? That was exciting to me as a football strategy junkie. So next thing I know, he's saying, well, you can't do this. And he's quoting me the rule. And I said, well, actually, that's the wrong rule. It's this one. And I know because the rules were created because of me to begin with at the NFL draft. Because I brought Ustream in the NFL draft. ESPN just raised helly Hades. And that was in 2007. And so they created the 2000s. In 2008, they created what I call the Zinni rules. And we're colloquially known as the Zinni rules. So now you're actually using the wrong rule. It's this rule. And which didn't kind of help matters because I was being a deliberate smart aleck, which I admit. You know, sometimes I like being a smart aleck when I think a situation is stupid, and I thought this situation was stupid because I thought that was a very newsworthy thing to do. So, sensing a problem, I called the league office. I called Rachel, who's in the legal, and she said, "Don't worry about it, Zinni." And then Tom O'Connor, who is the AFC representative, said, "Well, you know." You can't have a credential if you're going to do that. And I thought, oh, and so Will Kiss was like, we have now to figure out what to do with you. And I'm thinking, I'll make it easy for you. Keep the credential. And so, you know, easy peasy. Because, and the reason why I made that move is because when this gives a window to the future of media. And Mark has an interesting point I want to put out there. But at any rate, the point that I'm making is that when I went outside, I found I could connect with my fans. I could video with them and I could talk with them. And I think the NFL really misses what their own fans do at games, and they don't know how to connect with them. They don't know how to make it work. Even they have a guy, you know, going in the audience at Coliseum games, filming people, but not talking to them. Not what I do. And yet they see me there and they could simply say, hey, Zinni, you seem like you're successful at doing this. Mark Davis knows I do it. Maybe you can give us some pointers. We'll pay you X amount as a consultant. Fine, right? They do that? No. Completely out to lunch. Anyway, Mark Morrison says that apparently the Raiders are telling their veterans to start pumping up Vegas, and that the front office is telling them, the veterans, that the Raiders are going to be a global brand and to help them promote them. And then Rick Gray says, yeah, tickets are usually cheaper from fans as the price will drop closer to game day. One problem with secondary ticket sales are someone, usually season ticket holders, are you losing tons of money. And my issue with the secondary ticket thing is that brokers come in and buy these tickets and they drive the prices up to crazy amounts. And so it's like the NFL just lets them operate with impunity, looks the other way, and next thing you know, you've got oogobs of tickets that are jacked up to I don't know what. Nobody wants to buy them, and so the result are empty seats. I think the NFL really needs to drive down the prices, so they could sell some tickets. Now, I mean, not sell the tickets, but put butts in seats. Now, the problem is the NFL is probably really happy to get all this money, and they don't care if the seats are filled, which is a bad thing. I think it's a really bad thing for community. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think it's bad. I mean, I've been going to Ravens games for so long, and usually, the stadium is pretty full. Like, they sell out. And this season, just seeing a lot of empty seats, it's depressing. And I think it's, like, bad. I just feel like it's kind of like even, like, the morale of the city. I mean, last night I went out to watch, and the bars were kind of empty. There weren't a lot of people out. And it was a Sunday night game against the Steelers. Like, normally, that's, like, big night out. I mean, that's a lot of people live for that. I mean, Ravens Steelers, that's my favorite. I love Steelers week. And then you go out and I thought it was going to be crowded because I've gone out before where it has been really crowded, and it wasn't. And it didn't feel the same.
Yeah, it makes you feel. I mean, to me, when I go in a situation like that, I associate with preseason because it's all matter of the bandwagon. If I'm not at a game, and it's a game I would want to be at, I actually feel relieved that there aren't people there because I feel like I'm not missing anything. Right? You know what I mean? And I can't be the only one who feels that way. You want to have that crowd there to communicate to people watching that, hey, they need to be there. But if with empty seats, you can't communicate that. It's like, oh, nobody wants to be there. And so it becomes this negative spiral. I think, and so as Rick Gray is writing, he goes, season ticket holders will not continue losing money year in and year out. Bad image watching Eagles-Rams game yesterday. Top 2 NFC teams at only 67,000 at the Coliseum, which seats 92,000. And he's right. I mean, it really hurts me as a person who loves the NFL and its history, positive history, to see these chunks, large chunks of empty sections of seats. And I feel like NBA is coming up in popularity, and I really believe that, and I don't know what your thought about this is, but I think part of it has to do with we have a large immigrant population, larger than ever, and I don't think the NFL's figured out how to speak to that population, even in terms of having websites that are in, Azerbaijani or, whatever unusual language, right? It might sound ridiculous, but it's not, because you're reaching that individual, and you have to. I mean, why do you think that the NFL's, or is the NFL game losing ground to the NBA, in your view?
I don't follow the NBA closely, so I can't speak to that part. But the NFL, they're still hoping to have a team in Europe, in London. So it's like, if it's going to be this global brand, which, I mean, it feels like it's a global brand, but if they're losing ground, so it's like people in this country aren't following as much. I don't get how they're going to, how they're going to have a lot of fans in Europe if they're losing fans here.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to me.
No, I agree. I haven't thought about it that way. You're absolutely, that is absolutely weird. Are the Ravens a global brand?
No. I mean, I don't think they are.
That's a good answer.
I mean, they're not. They're just, people who are fans tend to be from the area.
Yeah.
They're not like other teams where there's fans everywhere. They just tend to be in this area in Maryland.
Yeah, Eric Young says exactly. I agree, Melissa. And Pedro Galaro says, "Hey Zinni, I spent $150 on a seat that originally cost $25. Battle of the Bay game. I bought them off StubHub. They make too much money reselling tickets." And yeah, absolutely. And so it's like, I mean, but you're absolutely. Let me ask you though, would the Ravens be considered? Oh, I want to be mindful of your time. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Would the Ravens be a global brand if they won more than one Super Bowl, like 3 or 4? Because they won 2, right?
Right.
But in separate times. If they had like, could we consider the New England Patriots a global brand, even though they don't brag about themselves as global, unlike the Raiders?
Well, I feel like the Patriots would be more of a global brand just because of, I mean, they win a lot, but Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like, he's the face of that team.
Yeah.
And everyone knows who he is.
But you associate with them with Boston. They're not trying to be someplace else.
Right.
You know, whereas the Raiders could just simply say, hey, we're Oakland, and Oakland is a global brand. We were born in Oakland. That's what upsets us, Melissa. It's like, you know what? You're born in Oakland. Stop trying to be someplace else and think that's going to translate. It didn't translate in L.A., and it's not going to translate any place else, and I still believe the Vegas deal is going to fall apart. So, you know, and I just do. Not for a host of technical, numeric, mathematical reasons. Rick Gray says, all these new stadiums, 2/3 full. It seems Ravens' prices are more normal than Niners or even the Rams or the Chargers. You agree there?
I don't know. I don't know how. If the Ravens were having a better season, I think that, I mean, prices would be up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what happens with them. Like, it's when they're having a good season, those prices get jacked up because people will pay to go to those games. Now, I mean, they're having this mediocre season, and people aren't going to games. But it is, I mean, but even when I've gone to games in other cities,
is that true for the Orioles too?
A lot more.
Do the Orioles have the same problem?
The Orioles are that's a whole nother issue. Well, I mean, because people don't really go to those games. I mean,
yeah, I saw Nestor.
There's an issue.
I saw Nestor yelling about that a few months back, and I meant to ask you about that. I mean, and I'm curious because I know you. I've known you for years. Nestor's an acquaintance, but a friend now. And same with Jameson Lockenfor, particularly after our long conversation about Baltimore at the NFL Fall Owners Meeting. We was talking. He tells me that your town is called Smaltimore.
Yes.
Have you met Jason?
As what?
Have you met Jason Lockenfor?
No, I know who he is, and I know he's from Baltimore.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
And he went to Towson, where I went.
Yeah, he what? Say that again?
He went to Towson.
What's that? What is that?
Towson University.
Oh, okay. That's in Baltimore?
Yeah.
I didn't know. It's okay. Where did you go to university? School? Same or?
Towson.
Okay, you both did. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
At the same time, or like, you know?
No, I don't know. I don't remember when I probably around the same age, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Baltimore boy.
Oh, hey, Rick Gray says, thank you, Melissa and Zinni. Take care. Hey, I'll see you, Rick Gray. Thanks for stopping by. Lucito says, Oakland or LA. I want the Raiders in one of those cities. Oakland. And Eric Young says, Lucito, as soon as Carr heals up fully, then we should see the old Derek Carr we know and love. All right. So, now, getting back to the whole protest thing. Because we haven't really effectively talked about that. What do you think about the NFL protest? I mean, yeah. What do you think about it? Open-ended question.
I mean, I kind of went back and forth on, like, being okay with it, then getting mad about it, then being okay with it. I mean, it's like, so every team did it. Like, players from every team, I think, did it at least once. I mean, not every single player, but a good number of them. And then, like some of the teams, or Jerry Jones came out with his team.
Yeah.
And put his own spin on it. I get it. And, you know, it's a freedom of speech. They're allowed to express themselves. But I think there's that fine line between the protest, like standing up for something, and like doing your job. Like, there's a very fine line. And so I haven't quite figured out like how much or how acceptable it is that they do that. Because a lot of people are like, that's their job. Like, they should not be protesting. And then I even question, like, well, because I didn't realize that they didn't always, the teams weren't always out there for the anthem.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah, which I didn't realize that, because I don't remember them like not being out there. They've been doing it for so long now.
It was never, if I may, it was never in the 70s, as I remember it, an official NFL pregame function. It was on a per team basis. And so you would have someone playing a horn and a flag, and you'd stand at attention, right? But it wasn't this whole thing where it wasn't a big to-do. And what was a big to-do is the introduction of the team itself. Okay, I remember, and I was saying to my friend Bill at our mutual friend Lars's father's funeral Saturday of a week ago, he and I went to his first preseason game, my second NFL game. This is in '76, and Bill has always been a quirky guy. We were all into Monty Python then, and so Bill was a teenage guy he has a voice. He talked like this, and he was a teenager, and blonde hair and these kind of John Lennon glasses, you know, that he occasionally wore. Anyway, the Raiders would come out, and the Raiderettes came out, and Bill, who's very much a physics guy, yells up and he goes, "Sex, sex, sex," and I'm going. And so then the Raiders themselves, the players are introduced, and Bill yells, "Violence, violence, violence." I reminded him of that a couple of weeks ago. He goes, "I did that?" I said, "Yeah, that was you." But my point is, that was the highlight. You know, it was like the players coming out and the cheerleaders. It wasn't the anthem, and it wasn't who sang the national anthem. You know, which I think around Super Bowl time became a big deal in the 80s, right? So no, you're right. It wasn't big like that. I think for me, as a person who's been a victim of police brutality myself, I immediately get the message. And I have also, as a guy who, when I was 6 years old, I said to my grandfather that I didn't want to play football because all the blacks were playing and not coaching. I said that at 6.
Wow.
Yeah, images are powerful, you know? Images are very powerful. Eric Young says it was just supposed to be about police brutality, talking about the NFL protests. He says, some of these knuckleheads, we protesting just to be doing it just because it was fashionable. That's an interesting observation. I didn't think about that. Anyway, but my point is, I got what they were doing, and I never associated it as being anti-American. I go with what Donald Trump said on January 15th of 2015 on the David Letterman show. You can find it on video. And he said that protest is, you know, a sign of free speech in America, including flag burning. He said that. President Trump. All right? President Trump said that. The same President Trump who essentially has advanced all this mess. Right? Think about it. So that's the way I looked at it. But also the NFL gets its players from poor black communities. And I wrote a study. I was hired by a guy named Noel Day to write this, called African Americans in San Francisco from 1960 to 1990. And what I discovered, among other things, is that, well, first of all, It's the impact of discrimination, racial discrimination in education. And in education rates, particularly from 1960 to 1990, black women doubled in the rate of the population in San Francisco that was going to college. As that happened, the birth weight went down. Okay?
Okay.
And it began to equivalent. I say all that to say this, that when you're denied education and it's within your lifetimes, you have this range, this gauge of where things are supposed to be improving. And when they don't get there, you say, okay, where are we? But one thing I took from that, in terms of the where are we, is this. We have a divide in the black community. We have a great number of well-moneyed, well-educated African Americans there. And we have a group from which the NFL picks from that isn't necessarily part of that. And what the NFL is evolving to is it's evolving into a situation where 10 years from now it's going to be ran by some of blacks from that, drawing from low-income blacks.
Mm-hmm.
And unless the NFL figures out a way to really address what is either a racist or a classist situation, there's no other way to look at it. It could destroy the league by not having an appropriate way to move forward. Now, having said that, I'll say this: investing in communities is a great first step, because when I tried to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, we had something called the NFL Yet. It's Youth Education Town. And the host committee, like if we got it, Oakland, our host committee would put $1 million into a youth education town in Oakland, and the NFL would match it with $1 million. That's investing in a community, right? And also investing in a community of color is more than just race. It's a matter of resources, and it's a matter of helping people achieve resources to live so that they won't be homeless. And that's what the NFL really needs to do. And it doesn't have any choice if it's to survive, and get rid of that problem. But what disappointed me is the number of fans that all during this protest have not only not gotten that message, but seem to almost act like, hey, look, you were saying some people think they're supposed to play for us, but they're not. But my point is, hey, look, does that mean that it's okay to have gladiators in the Roman times and you don't care if they live or die? And I'm not saying you at all. Please don't misinterpret. I'm talking about an observation. And I say that to say this, and many Raider fans know this. There was a guy named Sal, who we all are acquainted with as Raider fans, who on Instagram taunted our offensive tackle Donald Penn. I mean horribly, called him the B word and all this, made a video of it. Donald Penn, to his discredit, all right? And Mark says, right on, Zinni, the league shouldn't step up and invest in the community in a serious way. But to his credit, to his discredit, Donald Penn blasted back, saying, "Meet me in the parking lot." And so guess what? Saul being Saul, and there's a kind of some people call it a hyphy or a hip hop kind of way of responding, or whatever term you use. It was in your face and extreme. Yeah, I'll be there. And plus, it's like, hey, I'm an Oaklander, and you don't do that with an Oaklander, right? So he's in the parking lot. Goes, here I am. Donald Penn rolls up in his $200,000 Bentley. This is on video, Melissa. And gets out of the car and walks over to him. But then he tells the law enforcement a lie, saying that Sal pointed or threw something at him, and he didn't throw anything at him. It was Donald Penn handled that the wrong way. But what they did was they took an online but non-public argument it wasn't physical, and they made it public. They made it physical, and they made it in your face. And you have fans like that who, in the middle of this protest, feel it's okay to abuse players verbally online. Now, to Sal's credit, he didn't threaten Donald Penn. He just talked about him in a way that was not appropriate. This has happened to our linebacker, Bruce Irvin, and it's happened to a number of players. And yet, if you go to a game, the NFL has a PA system, and it says for you not to incite violence against players, not to, and you will be ejected, right? But they don't extend that to social media. And yet, here we are with the NFL protest, and you have a Michael Bennett, anybody that's black that's participating in the protest gets flamed in this way and gets threatened in this way. And it's by season ticket holders sometimes. And you have players who are there in their 20s. They're still developing emotionally. And they're still impacted by social media in the way that many folks in their 20s are, which leads to depression. So you have, and they're only human. Money is not going to cure depression, right? So the league has a big mess that it has to clean up. But what it needs to do is take the responsibility for how its players are impacted, how they're treated by their season ticket holders. I'll tell you what. In the days before the internet, if a player had tried to treat a Raider player like that, other Raider fans would have kicked that Raider fan's butt. I mean, if I said that correctly. In other words, if a fan had tried to treat a Raider player inappropriately, other fans would have come up and said, hey, because the only way you could do that would be in a public setting like a bar or any place else, and you're criticizing this player and you have other fans around, the other fans would get mad. That's really the way it should be today. But I don't see fans doing that on social media. I don't. And I don't know, and I'm just thinking this through with you. I don't know if social media is perturbating what it means to be a fan. It seems like it is, because I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, I don't want to play football if I get treated like this by people who are supposed to be rooting for me. They're supposed to be Raiders, and I don't know if that happens. Does that happen with Raiders? Are Ravens fans better than Raider fans, or do you guys are you a better class of fan than we are? Maybe. I'm just wondering.
I mean, I would think so, but I mean, I haven't heard of fans doing that to players here, but I'm sure that they do. I mean, it's just I haven't seen it or anything, but I'm sure, because fans get mad at players for millions of reasons, and they lash out on social media. I mean, I've heard of players that will block, if they have somebody who's tweeting them and being mean, they will block them. So they'll do that, but I don't know if it's an issue. I mean, it's probably league-wide, though. I'm sure fans of every team will just lash out and go off on players and just say mean things. I mean, there's people that like cyberbullying.
Yes, sort of like exactly. Cyberbullying. Rick Rice says that it's people like Sal that make the Raiders want to move to Las Vegas. But, Rick, I remind you that in Las Vegas you have people who are bookies who may have deals with players, and it might even be worse. So don't think that Vegas is any better, and at all. No way. Eric Young says that they would have dog walked that clown, and I don't think Saul is a clown. Okay, Saul's a nice guy. He's young. I just think he's doing what he believes is in the range of behaviors of his generation. Now, having said that, that doesn't make it right. And he lost his season tickets. He lost his privileges. He'd probably get him back at some point, use another name. But he lost his privileges. He really did. So and it's episodes like that I kind of feel like the NFL is becoming almost a niche sport, as opposed to the reach it used to be. Because the NBA, I mean, it's still not there yet, but I can see it coming up. It's got a long way to go in terms of where the franchise values of the teams match the NFL. It's still got a long way to go, but it's made great strides over the past 30 years. So Eric Young says, no, not Sal, but anyone in general. Okay, Eric Young, I get it. Eric, that's what Eric was saying, yeah. So we had that situation. So, prediction, John Harbaugh sticks around or leaves?
Well, I think it depends if the Ravens make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If they make the playoffs, they'll keep him. If they don't make the playoffs, I'm not sure what's going to happen because I feel like someone's going to take the fall for this, for like having a losing season. So I don't know. I don't know that it would be him or someone else. Yeah, I mean, there's people that are tired of him. They're ready for someone else. Someone new, some fresh blood, but I mean, we'll see.
Now, here's an update for the Monday Night Football game. And if we go to scores, I'll let you know in a second. This is very important stuff, folks. Hold on a second. It is, man, it's not updating for me. How come this has to happen? How come these things have to just, so bad? I'll try another way. This is one of those things where everybody's okay. It's third quarter, just started, 13 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. Dolphins 13, Patriots 10. Woo!
What? That's surprising.
Yeah. So, hey, go CSU Rams. How are you? Who says, and thank you. And Pedro says, you guys, thoughts on Steelers Patriots AFC Championship game preview. You want to give us your thoughts on that, Melissa?
What, the
possible matchup? Yeah.
Who I think's going to be in it? I think it's going to come down. Oh, I hate to say this. I think it's going to come down to the Steelers and the Steelers and the Patriots.
Okay, Steelers and Patriots. I will. I'll go with that. Now, Mark says, yes, Zinni, you're right about the NFL, NBA, MLB. Go CSU Rams says Miami, sorry. Eric Young says possible upset. Yeah. And so if the Dolphins win, they would go to 6-7, tied with the Raiders, which would make the Patriots 10-3. But the Dolphins are at 6-7, and they go 9-7. So you have the Dolphins that go 9-7. You guys are 6-7, right? 7-6. Excuse me.
7-6.
You're 7-6. So you don't have to worry about the Dolphins right now. They're kind of on the heel nipping position.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have the Dolphins on your schedule, okay? So
no.
And yeah, but right now that's what that. But the Dolphins do affect the fortunes of the Titans, which are sucking. And let me see what the standings are here. Let's see. This is awful. Refresh the screen. I'm trying to refresh this and all right. And we'll stop in 10:20. How's that?
Okay.
Cool. All right. Because I know you got things to do. But let's see here. We've got there's fantasy, my team, what's trending. There's a draft order, Monday Night Football, can't misplay. Lewis makes one-handed catch. Carson Wentz. Bad story about Carson Wentz, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's horrible. Horrible. I'll type NFL standings. And we'll take a look at that. NFL standings. There we go. NFL standings. Okay. Now we'll have here we go. All right, the Patriots right now are at 10-2 if they go to 10-3. Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. The Dolphins are at 5-7. Now the full standings have you all. Steelers 11-2. The Ravens are 7-6. The Bengals are 5-8, and the Browns are 0-13. So you guys are in a good position for a wild card hunt. That's what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but in the AFC South, you've got the Jaguars, the surprising Jaguars at 9-4, the Jaguars that make other people want to beat up fans. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I just don't.
Rick Rice says, as a Raider fan, who should we root for when the Chargers play the Chiefs? How do we sneak into the playoffs? Well, actually, you root for, boy, you really want to be that way. Okay, I would say, in other words, you want to be difficult. Okay, I would say you want to root for, since the Chiefs are number one, you want to root for the Chiefs to lose to the Chargers. You want to root for the Chargers because it knocks them down. But really, in terms of the Raiders, you want to root for the continued slide of the Titans. They're at 8-5. They lost. You also want to root for the continued slide of the Ravens if that happens. Sorry, Melissa. Just have to throw that in there. And Barry Lee says, what do you all think about Coach O'Brien not taking blame for putting Savage back onto the field even though he was sacked? He was twitching his hands. That was terrible. You know, he was just shivering like that, and he put him out there anyway. That was bad. That was bad. That was horrible.
Should not have been playing.
That was horrible. Will Carson Wentz be back by the time the Raiders see him? No, it'll be Nick Foles. Now, I remind you, it's the same Nick Foles that scorched us for 7 touchdown passes in one game, okay? Oh, my God, one game. Hey, did anybody get the playbook from that scheme? No. I mean, it would have been kind of nice if the Raiders had the next year said, we're going to do that, which I think Musgrave had in mind, but it was probably overruled by somebody up top named Jack. Anyway, I didn't mean to say that. But anyway, okay. We have standings: Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Texans, and Colts. So of them, the AFC South is the tightest. But in terms of the overall, you've got the Patriots, and I know the Steelers looking at this and really rooting for the Dolphins right now.
Yes.
Oh, and G. Taylor, who just tuned in, has a question. Are you happy with Harbaugh?
I'm happy with him, but there are times where I question his play calling. But I'm okay with him. I have issues with him sometimes, but I'm actually okay with him.
What about Steve Bisciotti?
I'm not ready to cut ties with him.
What about Steve Bisciotti?
I like him. As an owner, I like him.
Have you met him?
No.
Yeah.
I have not met him.
And G. Taylor says his wife's family is from Dulac. They're not fans of Flacco. So with that, I will. It's 10:16. I promised to let you go at 10:20, so we'll start winding down. What should, in closing, the casual NFL fans expect from the Ravens as we near the end of the season?
I don't even know what to expect. I mean, it's like you just don't know what team is going to show up. Mm-hmm. Every week, it's something different. I mean, last week they played the Lions. They were all over the Lions. And granted, it was the Lions. Yeah. But then they played the Steelers, and they had this ridiculously high-scoring game that they still managed to lose. So I don't get it. And then they're going to play the Browns. I don't know what they're going to look like. I hope they win, but I know that the Browns will play us tough. And also, I mean, so we have 2 division games, the Browns and the Bengals, and they would love to be the spoiler.
Yes, they would.
And especially that last game.
And G. Taylor says that
they would love to spoil it.
And G. Taylor says that you guys are always physical, the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally. I mean, I think they haven't been as physical in some of the games this season, but I would say yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of just been their thing, that like having a good defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes back a while. Marvin Lewis, and yeah, maybe and Go CSU Rams says, "Hey Steelers, Jacksonville in the AFC Championship." Ooh, interesting. Hey, with that note, come on back, talk some more sometime.
Anytime.
You got it. It was a lot of fun.
No, thank you for having me.
You got it, definitely. So I'll stick around. I'll close out. Folks, I'm going to close out. This is 10:18, and I know normally now tomorrow I'll resume the normal schedule of starting a little later, but with respect to Melissa's time, I wanted to start earlier. In fact, some of you have requested this kind of slot. Normally, this is more of a personal time for me before I get started, but it worked out pretty well. Having said that, I will be back tomorrow at the normal slot, which will be 11:30 in the East, 8:30 in the West, and we'll go from there. And that way we can accommodate, our late night viewers and our, Vegas stragglers who come in and like to basically flame me. So, all right. So, G. Taylor says, have her on next time we play them. The Raiders? That's a while. I mean, like years from now? Okay, that's fine, but I'm saying that it's not. Why don't I just have her back? How's that? All right, everybody. Hold on. Stick around, Melissa, but thank you. But stick around. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you Tuesday.